10 sales, why aren't more people ED? Today we're going to, in my habits book under the success goals, creating your success goals, I talk about people, what they have and what they want. So you may go ED, you may want to be platinum. The question is, why are you not? And so in the chart, in the habits book, there's this column for what you have, column for what you want. In the middle is a column that is the most important. This is the thing that changes your life, and that is what you need to do and what you need to become. So today we're going to talk about what is the one thing, the one thing that you have to do to become, let's see what happened there. The one thing you need to do to become a SHIELD Team 10 member, which turns around and makes you an ED, and what you have to do. So we talked about last week, we use the service. Hold on one second. We use the service, we share it, we coach people, and we duplicate. So you need to use it to believe, you share it, that's an extension of your belief system. If you don't use the service and don't believe in it, you're not going to share it. If you use it and believe in it, you are going to share it. That's the truth about whether you really believe in something, is whether you share it or not. And then the question is, the share part is how many people are you sharing. So the doing part is not including the numbers. That is a definite thing you need to do. You need to share it with X number per day. All right, the sharing has to have a minimum qualifications. So this goes up, your income goes up. And then your ability to coach people to use and share is really the name of the game as far as duplicating and creating wealth. So the amount of people you share it with creates your, what I call base income, your ability to make an income yourself. With controlling what you control in a day, in your own day. If you are building a team that is all about what other people do, then you may, you may not be earning the income that you really want to make. So think of sharing yourself is what you control to create your base income. A lot of times people start in pharmaceutical reps, they might get $2,000 or $3,000 base income, and then they get commissions on their sales or their production. Think of your base income on what you do and you control, because you need to lead. The word leadership starts with the word lead, and you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't go where you won't go. You can't teach where you won't go. So that's really important, that share part, you personally. So this is all about a webinar. Really, it starts with you and what you are willing to do. So if you coach and duplicate SHIELD Team 10, then that is going to be you doing 10, and 4 people doing 10 is ED, and 20 people doing 10 is platinum. So if you have 4 people on your team that also want to teach and coach and duplicate 4 people to do 10, you literally can go platinum with 20. So it is, how do you coach and duplicate? The key is, what is that one thing I need to do daily to make SHIELD Team 10? What is the one thing? And this is the one thing, when I go across the country, I don't see people doing. And we're going to go over all of these things, so there's going to be a little ouchie mama a little bit on this call, but hopefully it'll wake you up and make you realize, wow, why am I not reaching at least SHIELD Team 10? You're qualified for, you're over Performance Club, so let's go a little higher. Let's go up to SHIELD Team 10. The one thing you need to do is a presentation every day. That's it, 15 minutes every day, one presentation. Go to the people, tell the story. One presentation, 15 minutes every day, anybody can do. Now, you can do 1 presentation a day, and you can still do 5 in the weekend. That would make 10 a week. So that's really increasing your base income, and then showing the leadership of what your team can duplicate in you. But anybody can do 1 presentation a day. It can mean you can maybe do it every breakfast or every lunch. So instead of going to lunch just for fun, you're going to lunch to present. If you're a full-time person and you have to go home and you have a soccer game or you have a meeting that night with your family or a church, you can do that presentation at lunch. That can be the way you set up your week. You can also do it after every night. So you can do a 15-minute, you can have dinner family, you can meet someone while the kids are playing soccer. You can do a lot of things. You have to build it into your system. 1 presentation a day, which equals 20 per month, 50% close. If you're at a 25% close, you're going to have to do more. If you're less, well, great, you just made much more. But this is pretty weak, a 50% close, so we're using a pretty national average of a new person. You're going to see people that have 70, 80, 90, 100% closes, so that's going to be a much higher income for them, much higher than 10 sales, but this is average, and so 10 sales equals Shield Team 10, 4 other people on your team doing the same thing, and you are an ED. All right, so the presentation we talked about last week is share in R3. The key is you don't want to go to a presentation. You don't want to go to these one a day, okay, one presentation a day, and not do the presentation. Share your heart, share your passion, share everything it's done for you, share the consumer folder, and then do the R3. If you leave this out, you just didn't get the maximum opportunity. Now, I want to show this as well. When we go to ShieldNation and you look here on what to bring to a presentation, you can do whatever you want, but I'm telling you, if you want to have a huge organization, notice how the same presentation is in every division. If I'm presenting to a consumer, I use a consumer folder. If I'm doing a PBR, I hand out consumer folders. If I'm doing a small business owner, I'm doing a consumer folder because he has to protect his family. If I'm presenting to the employees at a small business, I'm using a consumer folder and an enrollment. If I'm going to a company HR director, I'm using a consumer folder to show them how the employees benefit with this service. If I'm doing an enrollment, again, at a big company, I'm using a consumer folder. If I'm talking to an insurance agent, they want to know, how do I make money? And I say, well, this is the product we sell. I use a consumer folder. If I'm talking to a broker, consumer folder. And if I'm recruiting somebody, what do we sell? This is what we sell. This is why everybody loves it. This is why you have an opportunity. So I literally learned one presentation. Now, when you go to a small business, you have to learn the other products, the business plan for the companies. So you have the base presentation, you've already learned it. You've learned it all across the company. So if I start here in consumer and my presentations, I get R3, and one of them is a small business owner. Oh, no, I got to learn a new presentation. No, not really. You can go to the small business owner and use the consumer folder, and then you can add on the small business information. And it's just a little bit more you have to know. It's not like you have an entirely new presentation. You've got the base part, and then you add on a little bit more to learn the plans for the small business person, which you can just literally read if that's where you're at right now. So that's the way you do the small business. If I am a consumer and I get an R3 and one of the referrals is to a company, I can take my group specialist in my team to do the group acquisition. I do not ever want to do the group acquisition because I'm just not that good yet. I do have the consumer folder, so I can go with my group specialist that I'm working with. He'll make the group presentation, and then I can do the consumer folder about why employees would benefit. So we can do it together because I know the one basic presentation. Same thing, I can do their enrollments for a company, or else the group acquisition person can also do the enrollments. But it's the same presentation. If you want wealth, you need to keep it simple. So I want to make sure we understand when we go and do the R3 and the sharing, we're using the same presentation for all of the presentations in every division. All right, so does the presentation create sales? The U.S. Direct Selling Association says 74% of Americans purchase from direct sellers, and person-to-person creates 70% of the sales. So if you think about how you buy a car or how you buy your Verizon phone service or an Apple, you want to go into a store, you want to talk to a person. I literally am buying dental insurance for me right now, and I asked the company, I said, I want to talk to somebody in Knoxville. And they have this thing, you call over the phone, you talk, and it's so confusing. I said, I want to talk to somebody local so they can sit down with a presentation, I can get my questions answered in 15 minutes, I can make a decision, and that is out of my day. I make my decision, I get my dental insurance, and on I go. But no, it's not that way. They want you to talk to complicated and you can't get your answers, and I want to see somebody face to face, so I have the security that somebody's going to take care of it if I should have a question. So that's why the presentation face to face creates 70% of the sales. All right, when you present, this is the two things that will happen. I want you to understand, they will either become a member, become an associate, or they will refer you to people that will become a member and become associates or group accounts. So they become or they refer, two things. So when I think of a presentation, when I think of going out and sharing something I believe in, and the litmus test of my belief system is whether or not I'm actually sharing it with people. So when I think about, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, but when you go out there and you share, they will either become or refer. It's a win-win. There's really no loss if your intention is truly one thing, and that is this. Do you want and do you care that they KNOW about our service and about our opportunity? That your job is literally to get out there and let everyone know what you're doing and the service this offers and how it can protect their family or their company or their employees. So when you understand that your key is a presentation is so that they know, and based on your presentation, and if you go to ShieldNation, go to the online training, go to how to sell the service and go through that whole thing, how to sell the service, the consumer folder training, and the script is there, everything is there, so you're saying the right words, you're not going to mess up, how to say it in a very, using the questions that are in the consumer folder script, because that was put together by a specialist, 150 years of sales excellence. This company helped put together the script that's on ShieldNation for presenting, and there's a lot of psychology in that. There's a lot of things like, wouldn't you agree? Yes. And does this sound good to you? Yes. You're saying things like that throughout the presentation. But the key is that you're presenting so that they know. You're going through the 4 questions and the 4 benefits. Very simple, so duplicatable, 15 minutes. At the end of it, do they KNOW the absolute benefits that this could have for their company, for their employees, for their family, for their as an individual or a small business owner. Do they know at the end of your presentation? Then if they do, and you did that, then you accomplished your goal. All right. And what will happen, because you were sincere and you cared about what they know and you were willing to go to them and make a presentation, then they are going to say, wow, this is either great for me, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I would like this service for me, or if they don't want the service for them right now, remember that, a no is just a not yet. Okay, if they don't want it right now, then it's like, you go into the R3 and it explodes your business. There is no way you will not do Shield Team 10 if you do this activity of 1 presentation a day, as long as you understand they will become or refer, and that the objective is that they KNOW, they know. Now let's say, let's look at some people. I go across the country and I meet these people and they're not making Shield Team 10, or they're not even doing Performance Club. What are they doing? And I want you to, here they are. This is one of the salespeople, Mr. Non-Sales Producer. He lives in Dreamtown, USA. His title of his business card should read Professional Meeting Inviter, or Professional Meeting Attendee, or Professional Training Class Attendee. So really, he's not a professional sales presenter. He doesn't understand what he's really doing. So let's say I have met people that are like, there was this one individual that her sales, once I got a hold of her and found out what she was doing, she was going to meetings and inviting and attending, and a bunch of people don't show up, right? That's what you do. You invite people and some people don't show up, and that's all she'd do. So she'd wait for the next week and she was a professional meeting inviter, so that's all she thought about is how many people I can get to the meeting. And I go, well, what's the purpose of the meeting? And she would say, you know, I don't know, this is what we're supposed to do. This is a system. This is a system. And I said, well, are you in the sales and marketing business, or are you in the meeting inviting business? What do you do? So on your card, does it read Professional Meeting Inviter? Or are you in the sales and marketing? Are you expanding a distribution of legal and identity theft services into the marketplace? And do you want individuals, families, small businesses, and their employees to have your service? So what are you, an inviter or a presenter, a sales presenter, a sales professional? And so she was like, oh, and she wasn't really even understanding. The purpose of a meeting is to invite somebody to see a presentation so they can become a member or an associate. It isn't just going to meetings for the purpose of going to meetings. A meeting is a tool to help someone else do the presentation for you, which is okay if you understand it's the presentation that you're after. All right, you're inviting somebody for a presentation so that they know, and then they will either become or refer. That's the R3 part. So yes, you can use a PBR. Yes, you can use a briefing, or yes, you can use a one-on-one. But understand the purpose is that they get the presentation so that they KNOW about the service, about the opportunity. All right, here's another non-producer. Miss Non-Producer, non-sales producer here is a professional tool hander-outer. She's a Facebook poster, she's an emailer, and she's an office organizer. So that's what it should say on her card. So instead of being a professional salesperson and a professional sales presenter, actually going to the marketplace, actually making presentation, actually seeing the people telling the story, she hides behind tools, Facebooks, emails, and stays in her office and organizes it and feels very successful, but she's confusing activity with accomplishment. All right, we don't want to be a non-sales producer. We need to see the people and get the R3, understand every presentation they will become or refer, and then they KNOW, we've accomplished our goal, that's what we control, a presentation so that at the end the one being presented to the prospect, KNOW, they know, and the number one reason that people will do this, do the meeting and not ever do a presentation one-on-one, and that's what they build their business on, and then do this, hand out tools and hide behind Facebook and such and hope somebody's going to call them, that kind of thing, is this. This is the number one reason that people are doing that, kind of hiding behind the phone and not actually going out, because if you go to a presentation, oh my, you might get a no. And so this is the thing. I want you to think. I did this in a couple studies, and it was just like an aha moment. But if I'm presenting to somebody, if you are thinking that you are presenting to somebody to get a yes, that's a very scary thing, because if you get a no, then you just got rejected. But that's not the idea behind a presentation. The idea behind a presentation, the mindset, is I'm going to go because I want them to KNOW. That's my mission. I'm on a mission. I believe in the service. I believe in the opportunity. I want people to KNOW. Whether it's a fit for them or not isn't my objective. My objective is to present so that they know. Now, out of that presentation with a pure heart like that and a good motive like that, that you're truly on a mission to educate and let people know in your community the value that you offer, they will either, the R3 will happen, they'll either become and see what you see. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you I didn't know about this service. I had no idea. That could happen. Or the other thing could happen where they don't quite see it for themselves, but the referrals come out of that, and that is amazing. The R3 is amazing because you're looking for the people that see it right now. That's how you build a SHIELD Team 10, not the maybes, not the I don't know. So if I make a presentation and they don't quite see it right now for their family, but they will, okay, and they have 5 referrals, and those 5 referrals turned into a company account and maybe an associate. Are you kidding me? That was a super amazing presentation. And I think the idea and the mindset that a presentation has to end in a yes or a no is really a limited, scary mindset. So if you just change that mindset to say a presentation is me doing my job to inform the community that I live in, the people that I care about, so that they KNOW and they know about our service, then I can feel good about me. I have done my job, and then from that sincere mission, the mission to educate, the mission that people know, that heartfelt passion that I have to let people understand what we offer, then they're going to be like, wow, I want to help this person, because it was true and it was authentic that I was coming to them for that reason. And so you can say that when you open it up. I am passionate about having everyone in this city know about our service. I am so passionate. I want to build a sales team. I want to change lives for individuals, families, small businesses, and their employees. I want to be the person that everyone comes to that's going to get protected with our services. And you can start your presentation out with that. Whatever your speech is from your bottom of your heart about why this is a mission for you, start it out so that they know that you're really there on a mission, that you care about them. And so here's the overcoming factor. I said in the beginning that I was going to teach you 2 things. What's the one thing you need to do, and that's a presentation every day minimum, minimum one presentation a day, 15 minutes. And what's the one thing you need to become? And then one thing you need to become is this: other people centered. If you are more concerned that they KNOW than you and the uncomfortable, oh, I might get a no, then you will be other people centered. You will go out there in the marketplace. You will forge on and make those presentations because you're thinking about the other people, the fact that they do not know, they could be going through who knows what in their life. They could be abused by collectors, going through bankruptcy and have some stresses and need to pick up the phone and need the advice of an attorney. Maybe they had a traffic ticket raising their insurance. They have no will because they can't afford it. Identity theft has just crushed their life. All of these things are happening to somebody you know, but you're so afraid to go out and present to them because you think that the presentation is going to end in a yes or a no, and that no is paralyzing, so you don't do it. But if you say, oh, my objective is that they KNOW, it's not about me getting a no or a yes, it's about that they know, and I care more that they know. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that forward, make that call, and be other people centered. All right, so give and you will receive. Give the presentation, give the knowledge, give the passion about what this has done for you, and you will receive either referrals, blessings, a new associate, a new member. That's what you will receive. Give and you shall receive. A large quantity pressed together, shaken down, and running over will be put into your pocket. The standards you use for others will be applied to you. So if I'm going out and making a presentation and all I care about is me, all I think about is my commission versus my mission, then the standard I operate in is me-centered. So if I'm me-centered, then other people aren't going to really, the standard I'm using, which is take care of yourself, just think about yourself, when I ask for referrals, they're really not interested in helping me. So that standard passes on, and I wonder why I don't have abundance. I wonder why people don't want to help me, or I don't have favor in the marketplace. It's because the me-centered spirit of yourself is flowing out there into the marketplace, and the standard you're using, which is take care of yourself, me, I got to get a commission, is kind of flowing out there into the other people, and they're like, ew, and stepping back, because you're not going to receive if that's your motive of your heart, that you're not going to. The two reasons that people don't receive anything is they don't ask, one, and or their motive of their heart is wrong. So it says, ask and you shall receive. If you have not, it's because you ask not, or you ask with wrong motives. So those are the two reasons that if you are asking, you're not getting anything, because you're not asking, or you are asking with wrong motives, I should say. So give and you shall receive. That's the character trait that needs to be present in other people centered. All right, now taking all this, how much money am I losing by not applying the principle of SHIELD Team 10 and going out there and developing a better sales presentation and better numbers, one presentation a day, 15-minute presentation a day in my daily habits? How much money am I losing by staying manager, staying director? Let's look at that. So selling the $26 plan without being an ED, a manager with over 100 sales loses $9,000. So if you're a manager and you're like, oh, I'm not going to make the presentations, I just want to send out those emails and hope somebody will call me, just by you not addressing yourself and not overcoming this and getting a different mindset and doing the thing to get the power, you're losing $9,000 for every 100 sales personally, let alone, this is team sales actually. So if your team sold 100, you and your team, you've lost $9,000. Whether it's if you would have been AD rather than manager, you would have made $9,000 more. Director, they lose $5,000. What about 1,000 sales? A director loses $50,000 for every 1,000 sales in their team that is sold in the marketplace. But it's not just $50,000 immediate income. Look at the residual. If you have a ED residual with 1,000 sales and it's greater than 76% persistency, because at the time that these sales were done, you were not an ED, if you lost $10,000 because you were a director versus a DD. When those come around year after year after year after year, those residuals that are paid to you year after year, every year you're losing $10,000. $10,000. Then if you don't train your people to market a membership correctly, the consumer folder, and they have less than 76% persistency, not only do you lose the sale because you weren't ED, but you also lose a total of $20,000. If you're a director that's not an ED, at the time of the sales, they take a snapshot of the month those sales were done over the period of your your sales business, and they take a snapshot of that month, and if that month you were director versus ED, over the time, every year of those sales that you were director versus ED, that would be a loss of $10,000. And if you have low persistency and you're not training and you don't think teaching people better presentation skills or honing in your organization to become better in the presentation is important, you just want to hide behind tools or whatever, and you're losing $20,000 because you don't have that passion, you don't have that mission, you don't have that authentic behavior, that pure heart going out to those people. And so there's a huge loss of money. When I owned my first business, I met with a CPA that charged me $600 for a lunch. And I made a lot of money in my first business, but he taught me that I lost a lot of money. And he said, you may be thinking you're making, each one of my tanning spots were making a lot of money, right? So my net was good. I was making money. But he said, if you were making $100,000 and you should be making $200,000 with proper behavior and better marketing and better controls on your business, then you're literally losing $100,000. So if I was making $100,000, I thought, oh, yay, but I should be making $200,000. Then he taught me that I'm actually losing $100,000 in income per year because of the wrong strategies, the wrong marketing, the wrong training and development, and the wrong sales process. So this is exactly what I'm teaching you today. It isn't that you're making money. It's awesome. You got your BMW, you got your car bonus, you're making some trips. I want you to, I'm bumping you up. Okay, that's what this webinar is about. Is that your best? Is that the best you can do? Is that what it should you be an ED? And if you're not, if you're part-time and you love being manager, don't get condemned by this particular slide. But if you're on the phone and you've been not operating in the right principles of success building and all the people in your local marketplace, you don't have a team to go out to them. You don't have an understanding that if they don't hear from you, then they could be going month to month with stress and all the things going on that our product can help them with and overcome the everyday hassles and from the trivial to the traumatic. And that's because you are uncomfortable, because you are thinking more about a no than that they KNOW, and you're not teaching or other people to go out into the marketplace for SHIELD Team 10. That is the problem, is because the other people in the marketplace aren't hearing from you or your team. That's got to change. So first, we need to prioritize. We talked about the top star prospects. You go through this, you call your 10s, then your 9s, then your 8s, and then your 7s, and you have your team do the same thing. So everybody is maximizing opportunity. You're going to the highest possible success. Then you prospect. Every time I make a call is right here. This is the first call of the day. There's the name, the intro call, the date would be here, and then I always put them in the M&R so that you would prospect every day. So if I'm going to do 5 calls a day to get my 1 appointment, so I would have 5 names right here. And then the appointment would be here. Here's where the appointments are. This is the bottom line. This is the real deal. This is look in the mirror and hold up your PDA, and this is your week's appointments. This is a number you've actually presented to. So it's nice that you're out there talking to a whole bunch of people, but if they're not sitting down with you and they're not getting an actual presentation so they can KNOW, you really haven't accomplished anything. So the number of presentations you get in a week's time across this board, if it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, Monday through Friday, if you're part-time, then you've done a great job. And if you can't fit it in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you got to do your 5 over the weekend. That will give you your 20 presentations a month minimum. And this is for a part-time person as well. So let's open it up. Am I willing to do and to teach the 1 daily habit that produces SHIELD Team 10, which is 1 presentation a day, and the 1 character that goes with that is to be other people-centered. Over to you, John.
Hey, great job. Love it. Just so many good things in here. Darcy, do me a favor. Go back to one of the second or third slide where use the product, share the product, duplicate. Just a quick thought to everybody. And by the way, if you have a question, an aha moment, something you want to share, a little praise report, whatever it is that's happening in the marketplace, just reach over to your dashboard, click raise your hand, and I'll reach out and call on you. But back to the beginning just for a second. 17 years ago, when I looked at the company, the first thing that made sense was the product. And, I wrote down 13 times in 1998 that we could have benefited from a service like this if someone just told us about it. And, I love what Darcy shared there. A whole host of folks didn't tell us about it because they were more concerned with themselves, getting a possible no or having the rejection that Darcy talked about versus John and Darcy knowing about the service. I can't imagine the people that knew us that were part of Legal Shield as an opportunity that didn't talk to us. I just, can't imagine how much money they've lost by not having talked to us about this amazing product that led to this opportunity. But here's a question I would ask you. Would you tell others about this product if there wasn't an opportunity tied to it? And as for John and Darcy, and I think probably most of you on the phone, the answer would be yes. I would tell others about the benefits of this value proposition, this service proposition, if there wasn't an opportunity tied to it, because I know what it's done for our families. I've used it, and I know what it can do for other families. So think about a couple of things. I'll never forget when Brielle and Brittany and Paige, our daughters, when they first came to us and they started telling us about this thing called an iPhone. We were Android users. We had Sprint, and we weren't Apple people. But they kept talking about it and kept talking about it. And we told them no, and they experienced rejection. But they had the mindset of a child. And if you think about kids, they never take no for an answer. And I think we need to develop that mindset of a child sometimes, because eventually what happened is today, we're a family of all Apple products. Darcy and I were with one of our business mentors in the Cayman Islands. His name was Paul J. Meyer. And a friend came up and talked to us about a beach in an area called Destin, Florida. We were on 7 Mile Beach in the Cayman Islands. It was beautiful, turquoise waters, beautiful sands. And this gentleman said, boy, if you like this place, you ought to go to Destin, Florida. The sands and water are even nicer than here. And we kind of laughed at him and said, really? He goes, yeah, my family and I have been going there every year for the last so many years. We absolutely love it. And you don't have to leave the United States to get it. So Darcy and I went there. It's the Emerald Coast. They call it the Emerald Coast for a reason. And today, because of what this gentleman shared with us, we own a property in Destin, Florida. We've had executive director retreats in Destin, Florida. We go there all the time. Did this gentleman, his name was Dennis, did he care, whether we ever went or not? No, he just simply shared. He simply educated us on this place called Destin. Two good friends of ours, Greg and Crystal, we go to dinner with them quite often, and they said to us one night, have you ever been to Foothills Milling Company in Maryville, Tennessee? And we're like, no, never heard of it. Oh, you guys got to go to this place called Foothills Milling Company. They have a tremendous chef. They have great food. And, it's usually about a month ahead of time to get your reservation. Did Greg and Crystal, were they so concerned that John and Darcy might say no or reject them? No, they were more concerned with us knowing about a place that we might like. Whether we ever went or not didn't mean anything to them. They just wanted us to KNOW. And so that's the beauty, really in educating. I don't sell Legal Shield. I educate through the education and asking questions. I then do use those two words, just ask, but I ask in respect to, would this be of benefit to you? Would you like the same privilege the wealthy have? And, for less than a cup of coffee a day, doesn't this make sense to protect your family? Yes, yes, yes. Just questions. It's just the simplicity of everything we shared. And so don't let anybody's minimum become your maximum. And I'll just leave you this last comment. I remember when Darcy and I first started in the business, many of you remember this, to qualify for executive director, it was 75 memberships. People didn't have a problem doing it. They were qualifying with 75 memberships. You know, today the qualification is 50. And yet, you know, still many executive directors in that qualification phase, you know, hit the last 2 days of the month, and they're 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 away. You know, if it were 75, it would be the same story. They would be 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 away, but they'd sure be well over 50. So, you know, don't let good become the enemy of great. And every one of you is greatness. Don't let good, don't let being comfortable lead to complacency. You know, let the greatness shine. Let the greatness come out, because the world wants to know about this product, and they want to know about it from you. The world wants to know about this opportunity for the most part, and they want to know about it from you. So, Darcy, I thought it was just an excellent, excellent webinar. Good stuff. I know the time you invest and put into it for all of the team. And Beth Wanberg, we can come out to you, but you have to call into, I see you got a question, but you have to call into or dial into the access code and PIN code. While I'm going through this real quick, we're going to go up to, hang on here, Francis Williams. Francis, go ahead. I see you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
I would like to know how you can get the presentation folders.
Go to Shield Team, go to ShieldNation right here, and then just go to the store.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, let's see what we've got on the speaker line over there. I know Bob is traveling in Atlanta today. Do we have the Lafredos or any of the Millionaire Club members on over there?
Bob's not on because he's in Atlanta.
That's what I just said. Fantastic. We'll go out to Tom Eaton real quick. Tom, great to have you. Good morning, sir. Tom Eaton, you got your hand up. All right. Tom's getting another cup of coffee. Steve Hales, I can't call on you until you dial into the access code and PIN code. And we got a loaded group, but everybody's kind of quiet. All right. Darcy, any final comments, and we'll get ready to wrap it up?
Well, can Teresa, nobody can talk or something? Teresa Johnson, are you out there?
Yes,
here we go. Let me grab CJ. Go ahead. Is that Teresa?
Yes.
Teresa and CJ, that'd be great.
Teresa, why are you so quiet? Let's go. Come on, girl.
Okay, I'm soaking it in. This is such great information. And, you know, I remember, John and Darcy, when we first got started, and we used to hear Dave Savola from the stage, and he still talks about it, 2 exposures a day. But what we didn't realize, what I didn't realize, I should say, at the time, it wasn't just those exposures, but it was really 2 presentations or doing a presentation. How many times can you tell the story? Yes, we can expose a person. We can give them a DVD. We can give them a website to go look at, but you never know if they're going to look at it. But when you do those presentations, now you know that you've at least had an opportunity to tell the story, so that we can plant the seed, so that maybe the answer isn't right at that moment, yes, I want to get the service, or yes, I want to come into the business, but we've at least planted a seed and gave them good information so that at some point in time they can make an informed decision. And that's what I've kind of stuck with. It's not so much as how many times I can do an exposure, but how many times can I do a presentation? And that is critical to really understanding the business. And then when we talk about the referrals, so important. I mean, something I learned early on is that whenever I write a membership, I usually ask the person to turn their copy over and now write down something that happened in your past that you wish you had used the service. Had access to the service, and they're writing that down. And then name something that that's going on right now that you'd like to get some answers to. Write that down. Name something that you're thinking about doing in the future and you need some assistance with, write that down. And oh, by the way, if you don't have a will or medical directive, write that down. And I've given them all the more reason for them to contact their provider law firm to get those questions answered. And then I'm also asking for those referrals. I'm turning my yellow copy over, and I'm asking them for referrals. You know, if they have, you know, at least three people that they can share, that they would like for me to share this information with. And so I'm making a point to be very deliberate about asking for those referrals. You know, when you ask for those referrals, people say, well, I don't have anybody to talk to, or I don't know anybody. I've gone through everybody I know. But actually, with those referrals, you don't really need to go out and buy leads because you've got an abundance of referrals just from the people that you're talking to. And so just keeping that in mind and doing those things have been huge for me so that I don't run out of people to talk to. Back to you.
I couldn't agree with you more, and Darcy's slide is perfect. You know, the direct sales made the comment, person-to-person creates 70% of the sales. Guys, it's even more so in Legal Shield because we're pioneering the legal services industry as well as trying to provide big differentiators in respect to what we do versus other identity theft companies. So it's not that the tools aren't okay, but the tools are not the end all. Become a, you know, professional in respect to your business and make sure that you are seeing people and communicating. And if you're supporting it with a tool, but if that's great, but if you're thinking the tool is going to do everything, you're out of your mind. CJ, let's go out to you. Great to have you. I know we've got a couple of other folks. Their hands are up now, but CJ, good morning. Great to have you. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Hoffman. Thank you so much. Another phenomenal webinar, Mrs. Hoffman. Phenomenal training. You know, just me personally, real quick, my entire mindset has changed over the past, I would say, month and a half. It's the culmination of you coming into the marketplace and the platinum trainings. Your platinum training, Mr. Hoffman, has been in my car on rotation now for about a month and a half straight. The webinars, everything is really just coming together, and the mindset for me has changed where I really buy into that mission of I start out a meeting with, my purpose here is to just simply let you know that this service exists because it brings me so much joy to see somebody that is unaware and turn them aware. And that really has opened me up to now doing the consumer folder, stepping outside of my comfort zone, asking for those referrals, which I never did in the past. I would say for the first time ever the other day, I actually accomplished R3, which is like the first time ever I got a consumer, a broker, and an associate referral from one person, and they did not necessarily buy the membership at that moment in time. And I was talking to Mr. Rocco Cilio about this the other day that, you know, me personally, I have never had so many appointments in a row, all right, that actually did not move forward at that moment in time. And I believe it's because of the training and what I'm listening to and what I'm filling my mind with now, where I'm saying that's okay because I'm getting referrals. And I've just set up a meeting where I get to speak in front of a group of people. And I met with that broker that when he comes back from his vacation next week, he's going to, you know, move forward with us. So there's so many positive things that are coming out of it. If my objective was just to simply go there and close a deal, then I would be coming home saying this business doesn't work. But it's not the truth. It does work. It's just not now. So I'm just extremely excited about the pipeline and just constantly doing the activity because it's fun. And I just, you know, I credit that back to the training that we've been receiving from you. So I just wanted to share that. So thank you. Back to you.
CJ, I want to make a comment on that. First of all, I want to make sure with Teresa that everyone saw this. This is what she was talking about, that every time you do a presentation, or just like what CJ said as well, if you do get 5 referrals, understand you'll never have to do cold market, or, I mean, you got so many new customers, potential prospects per week. Just because you did 5 presentations and you got 5 referrals, you've got 25 new people to contact, whether they be companies, brokers, insurance, families. It doesn't even matter. It's like you are so unbelievably overwhelmed by where to go next, because what CJ is experiencing, he's experiencing the referrals. So you're just just moving through. You're moving through these presentations and looking for the ones that say yes and are ready to move today. And then going back to this, what CJ said, when Brielle first started, and this was her whole thing right here, make a presentation, share in R3, and she was going in there with her mission. She would clearly state her mission that she wants everyone in Knoxville to understand the value of this value proposition, how they can be protected, companies, individuals, families, the whole thing. So she would state that, and I'm so thankful that you're letting me share this with you. It might be a benefit to you and your family, your company, whatever. All right, what would happen because of her sincere beginning, the way she started, she would get the referrals, right? And so what it started to get to the point where she had so much, just like you're having, CJ, you have so much so much opportunity that when you go out in the marketplace, now she gets to say no to this one and no to that one, because now she's being able to select, because rather than just having 3 possible sales in a month, she has like 20 people that want to do business with her, companies and brokers and insurance agencies and financial planning companies, and it is like explosive. When you get this right here, and what you just said, CJ, is so important, and Teresa, you too, the fact that if you just commit to the daily presentation and understand it's the K-N-O-W that they will know versus getting a yes or no and oh my gosh, this doesn't work, it does work. And so what happens is when you make that presentation and you get those referrals, then you go work with someone that's ready now. Maybe the person you're talking to is not ready now, but they referred you to somebody that's ready now, and they have the light bulb go off, they're ready to go, and so you're moving through these presentations and referrals and presentations and referrals to where you find all the I'm ready now, oh my goodness, I see it, I want it, I get it, let's go. And then you have this extraordinary experience. I'm literally looking at the entire Proper Care organization, which has 95 executive directors. In 2014. We have our whole list of everybody in every month that they made executive director. Out of 95 executive directors in our organization, there are, I didn't count actually, but I starred all the ones that were executive director 12 months straight, like all year 2014. So I have those, and I'm looking at those right now. Out of every ED that was 12 months executive director, there's only one person that is new to that ED list that made ED 12 months straight without 1 month dropping. And that one person, out of all the EDs, they've been around for 5 years, 10 years, you know, that kind of stuff. But the one ED that's brand new is Brielle Hoffman. And she's the one ED. So in other words, out of all of the people that are using whatever systems and whatever ideas that you think work, the one that is truly on the paper, ED, 12 months straight in 2014, is the one doing this, the presentation plus R3. And it just is, it's so solid and such a strong foundation for building locally and being a, owning, oh, what's the word, creating market dominance locally, so you are the person, and then you template that and duplicate that in another city. So first own your first city with these systems, and then you can recruit and develop another city with the exact same model, and that's what she's doing. So anyhow, there's just so much validity in what we're teaching right now, and just wanted to share those things. So back to you, John.
Real quick, we will wrap up with Jim Riley and then Katie Huff. So Jim Riley, congratulations on hitting executive director. Why can't I get him off mute? Trish, did you change my controls?
Hi, John. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, there he is.
Jim, are you
Hi,
there?
Jim.
Hi, how are you? John and Darcy, thank you so much. This has been great training. I met you both in New York a couple of months ago at the Super Saturday. And when I listened to your presentations, your concepts, your themes behind everything about this business, what comes to my mind, this is a breath of fresh air. This is really a system that I am using or going to use, or continue to use, I should say. So I'm fortunate. I used a lot of this system. In fact, last month was my first month as ED. It was exciting. And just to share with you, and Darcy, I thought it was brilliant when you say, hey, some people hide behind the tools. I think we've all done that at some point along the journey. But throughout, even though last month was a challenge of getting to ED, everyone I got in front of, I just parked that someplace because that's something on the side. My whole focus was sharing the information with them, helping them, making sure that they got the information. I was leaving one company, and I was, finished up a group presentation. I was leaving. Another employee came in, got off the elevator, and I happened to say to him, "Hey, by the way, you got 5 minutes? I don't want you to miss what the other employees or your coworkers got." We sat down. We ended up buying both plans. But it was really a rhythm that I got into. I was passionate about it, and at all times, I just kept that numbers that I needed to get to on the side. And I really think about the team support that we have, which this is great. I'm building a team too, and I have a new associate that came on board, and his name is Dan Gagne. And as a brand new associate, he even called me up and said, "Jim, I'm going to do everything I can to even get you a membership." And when you've got a team that's got your back and we're supporting each other, you can't lose. And even though I was sitting somewhere around 46 or 47 as my counter, getting close to the end of the month, he got one membership, and that to me personally meant it was equal to about 1,000 memberships, because it wasn't just a membership, it was the thought, it was the support, it was truly team, and it's an acronym, together everyone achieves more. So I'm blessed, I'm honored, and to be part of this team, and back to you, John and Darcy. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, fantastic, and congratulations again. I didn't get a chance to finish what I was saying while I was trying to get you unmuted, but congratulations on qualifying executive director. Darcy and I had the honor and privilege at Rocco's house to be able to meet certainly you and the rest of the team. So congratulations. We can't wait to see you in Dallas at the ED conference. I know that's going to be a treat. So again, congratulations. And with that, let's go out to the Montana market. We'll wrap up with a Millionaire Club member and a Golden App Award winner. Personally, this young lady's written over 7,000 personal memberships, and just a good friend to the team, certainly part of the team, but Miss Katie Huff. Katie?
Hey, Mr. John, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Cool, great. Well, good morning, Shield Nation family. I'm thrilled to be able to kind of close out the, this webinar, because I just want to recognize and acknowledge John and Darcy and how hard they work for us with these webinars. And I will tell you that I really believe that all of us can sometimes get lost in this call and that call and this issue. The Legal Shield Corporate is sending out a lot of emails to us, and I would encourage all of you to do what I am going to commit to all of you here, and that is we make a commitment to our team to make sure that they know exactly the most important webinar, the most important call is this one on Friday mornings, and make that commitment to ourselves and to our team and to Shield Nation team, because this is the best training across the country throughout Legal Shield. And I'm sure all of you would agree with me with that, but I think some of us, including myself, get so busy in our routines that we don't remember, okay, Friday morning, 7:30, and I'm guilty of that, and I'm confessing to you about what a wonderful training this is and how hard Darcy and John have given to us and worked for us. And the thing is it's all about relationships. As this says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and that is so evident with how we will approach people, help them protect their families, protect themselves, and have an incredible opportunity to change their families and their communities. And I will be honest again and say I have not been very good, even with 7,000 applications, of doing the R3 and asking for referrals. But I have networked, I have knocked on doors, I've compounded the calls, and going into at least 5 businesses a day, over a week, 25 a week, 100 a month, and that will work for you. But making it easier on ourselves is when we do get those accounts, when we do get those applications, is that we say, who else do you care about that we can share this incredible opportunity or the service? So I'm just coming to you saying thank you from the bottom of my heart for how hard you work. I appreciate you. I appreciate our family, and I can't wait for us to blow the top off of Legal Shield at our international convention and seeing the executive directors in a week. And congratulations to Jim as our new executive director. So back to you, John.
Hey, thanks, Katie. And you know, something that Katie mentioned, it's tremendous, is that she's honest with herself and that she hasn't been good at the R3, referrals to the power of 3. And hey, the great news is I don't know how many times I messed up my first 90-day run. I mean, completely screwed up my first 90-day run, but I could always start over. There's no day like today. We can head to the fields right now and immediately, sow into that seed time and harvest mentality. And so there's no day like today. And the great thing is repetition is the mother of skill. That R3 program for Katie and anybody else, whether you've sold 5 memberships or 7,000, can start today. And in respect to Katie's comments, my hat's off to Darcy. She's the master and works hard at putting these webinars together. I'm simply a moderator that gets to kind of sit here and ride, the greatness of what comes out from an information perspective to every one of you. So let's not take it for granted. Let's put it to work in our lives. Let's help others by putting it to work in their lives. And with that, Darcy, any final comments from you?
No, just go to the ShieldNation Facebook and get your aha moments. If there's anything that your area struggles with, let me know. Send it to support@ShieldNation.com, because this webinar is for the, is what's happening in the marketplace, what we need to do for breakthroughs. It's really the real deal about changing our skill sets and increasing our success in the local marketplaces. So let me have your feedback. Okay.
I'll say this. If you guys want to pay it forward, please go to ShieldNation Facebook and put a comment on there in respect to anything that may have benefited you from any of the webinars that Darcy has put together. And if you have team members that have not been able to make it this morning, every one of these are recorded and archived thanks to what Trish does. And you can go to ShieldNation website and you can pull it up, or you can catch it at ShieldNation Facebook.
And they can share it as well with their team. So by just pushing the share button right here, you can share. Once she puts the link on there, you can just share it and send it out on your emails and your Facebooks. Okay.
All right. Great job. Thanks, everybody. Everybody have a blessed weekend, and we'll see a bunch of you in Dallas next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye now.